What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So you may have already seen that introduction somewhere on the internet. That's actually my buddy Crypto Brecky. I thought it was really cool how, like, you know, he's just throwing away the dollars, throwing away the gold, and then finally he gets some Bitcoin. So shout out to Crypto Brecky. Definitely check him out on Twitter if you haven't. But welcome back to the channel. Pleasure to see you today again, and it is a beautiful green day across the board. Obviously, Litecoin is seeing a little bit of red. It's had a massive tear. I mean, a 2% pullback. You got to kind of expect something like that, right? But I do want to talk about the fact that Bitcoin may potentially just be gearing up for its next parabolic run. In fact, there's some really similar signals that we're seeing now, potentially, that also we saw back in 2015 that kick-started the bull run. I want to talk about that. Also want to talk about the potential to make money on these altcoins, right? We were seeing altcoins 100xing, 1000xing back in 2017, 2018. Is that possible? Can we actually see that again this time around? We're going to dive into that. We're going to have a discussion. But before we do, I just wanted to say I have a special surprise for you guys. But before we get into it, first of all, if you're new to the channel and you haven't gotten subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We do this every single day. Also, we give away a Ledger Nano S every single Monday. But before we get into the charts, I do have a surprise for you guys. Now, I was supposed to have Bitcoin from Bitcoin and Friends actually come on the channel and do an interview. Unfortunately, he got really tied up. He was busy. He had to finish filming episode 2. So he did leave us with this, and I will play this before we move on.
Hey everyone, Bitcoin here from Bitcoin and Friends. I was originally slated to do an interview with K-Dub, but I'm shooting my last scene for episode 2, which is coming out this Saturday, and so Broccoli Rob, the producer, is stepping in. Anyhow, we wanted to give a really quick thanks to K-Dub for having us on the show, and if you haven't subscribed to his channel, I would really consider it. He works really hard, and he gives you a lot of great information, and sometimes he wakes up at 4:30 in the morning just to get all the news ready for you guys. So he just works really hard, and I hope that you guys subscribe.
Thank you so much, Bitcoin. I do appreciate that. Yes, sometimes I do wake up at 4:30 in the morning. You know, these markets get kind of crazy, guys. Sometimes you can't sleep. So also, just to let you know, if you stay until the end during the interview, I do have an exclusive clip from episode 2 that you can only see on this channel today, right now. So there you go. Now, having a look at the markets, which is why everyone's actually here, let's give this a quick refresh live. Now, Bitcoin dominance is pulling back, keep in mind. We're down to 55.1%, which means that the market cap is going up to 262 billion, but we're down percentage-wise on Bitcoin dominance. So I think people are starting to speculate on some of these altcoins, and you can see some of these altcoins are popping off right here for sure. In fact, just on the front page alone, we have Aurora up 42%, Agricia, amazing what that project has been able to do with the community, Bytem, Bitcoin SV, Metaverse, BitTorrent, Holo, Zcash, Nano, Neo, Binance Dash, you name it. We have some nice gains across the board. Beautiful day to be in crypto. Also, friendly reminder, about a month ago we talked about this whale alert where 300 million Tether were printed, and I think they are continuing to do that as we speak, because this is just the 7-day chart right here, and you can see, I mean, look at this, you know, printing some, printing some, printing some. So they're printing out the Tether. What does that mean? I don't really know short term. We don't really ever know what's going on with Tether, but they are printing it. And when they print it, well, they tend to buy Bitcoin with it, right? Also, just wanted to mention the fact that even though this Leo token is not on CoinMarketCap, if we come over to CoinGecko, it's actually showing right here that we are at rank number 13. So that's pretty crazy. You can expect to see that on the front page very soon. I'm sure that's going to be a topic of conversation. However, I do want to get into Bitcoin and talk about what is going on right now. We are definitely at the end of this critical zone. We've been talking about it. We've been consolidating for quite some time now, and I think Bitcoin is getting ready to make its move finally. As you can see right here, we've actually been suppressed by this downwards trend. This is the one that was, basically stomped us out here and here. And look at this. We are perfectly just basically riding right along it. Now, the question is, are we going to bounce around in this area for a little bit longer until we get right to the end? Because don't forget, we said around June 15th, June 16th. That is this weekend, this Saturday, this Sunday. So Bitcoin, by the end of this weekend, we're going to see some massive movement. We could even see it as soon as when I put this video out. I'm telling you, Bitcoin is getting ready, guys. Also, if we do somehow manage to continue sideways, we may end up in this green zone right here, which would bring us all the way to potentially the end of the month. But I think we're going to see something really explosive, potentially either just before we enter it or as we enter this green zone. So we're going to keep our eyes on that as well. Zooming out, having a look at some of these levels, obviously we need to get above this $8,300 level first, obviously, and then the next level would be to get above that $9,000 level where we peaked, right? And you can see right now we are trending upwards, so this is a good thing. We have a lot of support down here on all these different areas. We had, upwards support here. We had a trend line of support here, okay? And even the resistance from this channel, which eventually could become support. We don't know yet, but that is a potential. So what's the next level we're looking at? Well, if we look right here, you can see it's pretty much right around that $10,000 level. Actually, it's a little bit underneath $10,000, and let me show you why. If we go all the way back here, okay, to these charts, you can see we had two Darth Maul wicks back to back on the 29th and on the 30th of November in 2017. We were just struggling. You can see we went all the way down to 8,500, popped all the way up to 11,000, came back down to 9,162, and then, so we were all over the place, okay? Very, very, very crucial level. So I do think that $9,900 level, $9,931 just before 10K, I think that's going to be a very, very interesting level to break through. Now, I just want to remind you guys, okay, trend is your friend until the end. We are still trending in the green. You could see Super Guppy putting in red all the way down here at the end of the bear. We hit some neutral as we consolidated, and we are still in green on the daily. So there's no reason to assume that we're going, we're just going to crash all the way down. I mean, we have talked about a potential chance of a 30% pullback at some point. Does it have to be now? No. It could be at 15K. It could be at 20K. Maybe we hit 20K and then we pull down 30%. It's possible, guys, right? But having a look at this moving forward, I wanted to also just say, this is something that we haven't even really brought up, but I have noticed that we've been having these ascending, broadening wedges. We have one on Litecoin currently happening right now. We had one on Bitcoin that happened a couple months ago, and then we had an explosion, and at the same time, I would argue that we are potentially having it right now. So what you might see is something where you come up to the top of the channel, retest it, and then just absolutely blast off, but that kind of gives you an idea of where we could potentially head. So if you do look at this, assuming that maybe we, fill the CME gaps, go down to 72, pop back up, I mean, look at this, you're looking at that level right around there, that $9,900 potential level. If we were to, obviously we're not going to go straight up, right? But that is something to keep in mind as well. Now, I also want to point out a very interesting, reoccurring, it's a signal that we may potentially be having, and I want to point over to what Omkar Godbol pointed out, and I'm actually going to pull the charts up right now, so I'm going to disappear for just a second. If we have a look at the charts, 2015 on the top and 2019 on the bottom, you can see that Bitcoin's bear market ran out of steam around $150 in January of 2015, following which the price actually remained largely trapped in around a $200 to $300 range for about 9 months. Then, if you notice right here, the 50 and the 100 moving averages had actually produced a bullish crossover on October 16th, 12 days before Bitcoin broke into a bull market. And yes, Bitcoin then charted a steady stream of bullish higher lows and higher highs over the next 2 years and reached a record high, as you guys know, of $20,000 in December of 2017. Now, let's have a look at the chart on the bottom, which is the 2019 chart. We have the 50 moving average could potentially find acceptance above the 100 moving average, and this would also confirm a bullish crossover. Now, it's a little bit different this time. Bitcoin may not immediately see a sharp rally, as it has already obviously gained over 185% in the last 6 months, but it's worth noting that the picture was somewhat different in 2015 with Bitcoin stuck in a $100 range for 9 months to October, during which the average bottomed out. So obviously we know that past performance doesn't necessarily guarantee future results. However, if things do play out similarly as they did in 2015, we could be setting up for the next Bitcoin parabolic 2 to 3 year bull run that we've all been talking about on the channel for quite some time now. I also want to talk about Rob Slumer. Now, he's over from Fundstrat. He actually has had a pretty good record, okay? He called basically the Bitcoin crash at the end of 2018 when we were trading around $5,500. He also issued a note at the beginning of May this year where he was talking about the price getting ready to take off, okay? So now he has sent out another research note, and this is exactly what he said. He said, another upside attempt appears to be developing for most cryptocurrencies. He recommends increasing exposure. He says, we expect Bitcoin to stage another rally from the current levels toward the next resistance around $8,800 to $9,000. And you can see, according to Bloomberg right here, it says that Slumer notes that the relative strength index momentum has begun to turn upwards from neutral, which is consistent with strong trending markets. He believes that this is an early indicator of an upswing in price of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. Interestingly enough, the RSI isn't really something that I look at a lot on the channel because I have seen Bitcoin just completely do the opposite of what it usually should do. But that's what he's saying. He's saying increase your exposure. Not my words, his words. But the big question is, and I'm going to start with this tweet from Trading Room. He says, I haven't said anything so far about Harmony, Matic, BitTorrent, Seller, or Fetch.ai, but if the past ICO pattern repeats, some of the new IEO coins may deliver 100 to 1,000x return from IEO prices or the lows with a buy and hold approach. Do any of them have a potential, and why? A lot of people down here have a lot of opinions, so this is the question. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, 1,000x? Are you serious? 1,000x? Well, I want to talk about something really quick. I want to talk about, are these going to potentially get new investors excited? Are new investors going to be more interested in IEOs versus, let's say, ICOs? And then I want to take a few examples and show you the potential of actually how much you could gain from holding on to some of these, very speculative, but some of these tokens and coins. So you can see right here, they say one of the key reasons for the downfall of ICOs in early stages was basically scamming, okay? There were a lot of scammy ICOs. Eventually, people got freaked out and they didn't trust them anymore. Well, now we have them listed on exchanges, right? So they say the massive uptick in popularity of IEOs could lead to self-selection on exchanges. For instance, of the 100 projects vying for a spot on, let's say, the Binance Launchpad, they only launch one a month, okay? So this would in effect mean that the quality of the IEO that does make it is significantly higher, right? And finally, it's easier to find, right? When you used to have to do these other, ICOs, you'd have to send your money away, which, listen, I get it. It was all about decentralization. I'm not arguing that. I agree with that. But what I am saying is for new people coming into the space, it's a lot simpler for them to sign up to Binance, send some, money into the IEO, wait a couple days, get your tokens distributed to your account, and then do what you want with it, right? Instead of dealing with, okay, we got to put it in a Prima block, send it out to these different accounts, then they get redistributed. Now I'm just sitting here holding a bunch of tokens. What do I do with them? And then, oh no, wait, what? Exit scam? That sucks, right? So that's basically that situation. Now I want to look at some of these projects, okay? Let's take Neo, because I used to, I still do like Neo, very much so. Used to be a huge Neo fanboy, you guys know, back in the day. I do like what they're doing with the upgraded 3.0. But anyway, I'm just using them as an example. So you could see right here, at the all-time high, we had Neo at $194. That's pretty high, guys. You can see it's still down 93% from its all-time high. So if this just shows you the potential of some of these coins. Now, this is interesting. This is a snapshot from CoinMarketCap on, what day was this? January 14th. So this was 2 days before the I think it was 2 days before the NEO all-time high. By the way, look at some of these prices. $13,000 Bitcoin, $1,300 Ethereum, XRP, $1.86, Bitcoin Cash, $2,553, Litecoin, $238. There's that number we're aiming for, right? So long story short, you can see NEO had a $11 billion market cap. That is absolutely insane, guys. So let's come over here and let's do some math. So you can see right here, this is the price. You're going to laugh when you see this. This is the ICO price for NEO, and it was ant shares back in the day. 0.032 cents. So just a little above 3 cents, okay? So if we look at it going from 3 cents all the way to $194, I wrote it down right here. I did the math earlier. That is a 6,087x, guys. And here's the real kicker. 6,087x, okay? That's not percentage. That's actual gains. It's actually 6,087x. And if we go over here and have a look at this right here, you can see it's currently $13.52. Well, compared to 3 cents, NEO is still after being down over 90+% up 422x. So it is possible. It's just a matter of which ones, right? Because I don't think they're all going to outperform Bitcoin. I've been saying this on the channel. There may be some short term that'll outperform Bitcoin for sure, but I think once we hit the next peak and we start going the other way, if you're not back in Bitcoin or a stable coin or something, yeah, I think these are going to go the same way that they have before. So that's what I wanted to point out, and I wanted to let you guys know that yes, it is possible, and I do think if we pick the right ones, if we pick the right tokens, then yes, I do think a 100x to a potentially 1000x is possible, but not for all the coins, not for all the tokens. You're not going to be able to just throw a dart like you did in 2017, okay? So that's my opinion on that. Also, let's talk about the fact that CME Bitcoin Futures average daily volume and open interest has been seeing all-time highs. CME Bitcoin Futures saw new records in both volume and open interest in May, adding over 200 new trading accounts. Average daily volume finished at more than 13,600 contracts, or 515 million in notional USD traded value, up 36% since April, over 250% year over year. Thank you, Oliver Isaacs, for this chart. Now, let's talk about, I know, we're still talking about Bitcoin ETFs? Yes, we are. So check this out, guys. So accounting firm BDO has announced a comprehensive cryptocurrency and blockchain auditing service, paving the way for the first Bitcoin ETF on the Australian Security Exchange. So decentralized capital founder Stephen Moss told Mickey that reputable independent auditing is a necessary precondition to secure regulatory approval for the company's proposed Bitcoin ETF. He said that the company will now put in an application for a fully audited and insured ETF in the next 6 months, provided you can work with regulators and the ASX to offer investors securities. He says, I think Australia is possibly an ideal place for a Bitcoin ETF. So, hey guys, we may have Australia coming out with the Bitcoin ETF before USA. Also, what the heck's going on with BACT? Is BACT still pushed back? Come on, guys. I thought you guys were supposed to be out in December. Let's get this going. Also want to talk super quick. Payments company Square has hired former Google director Steve Lee as the first member of its new crypto team. The maker of the Bitcoin-friendly cash app, led by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, announced it was hiring a crypto team back in March. At that time, Dorsey said that the new roles would be focusing not on Square's own commercial interest, but rather on what's best for the crypto community. We also have another blockchain startup backed by former White House advisor Gary Cohn, raised $23 million in its first round. This is Spring Labs. You can see they've also invested in Beyond Meat, which you guys may have heard about their really good IPO, as well as General Motors Company. And yeah, you can see that Spring Labs received additional backing also from Mike Novogratz's group, Galaxy Digital, and the Pritzker Group as well. And finally, before we get into the big interview, I just wanted to point out this article. I don't know, this is crazy, but they were saying, basically, scientists have linked ancient currencies to Bitcoin creation. Obviously, they haven't. But basically, there's this civilization that essentially had like a distributed ledger, but they would do it by word of mouth. And anytime they would move these stones around, which I guess could be seen as like the Bitcoin, they would, orally announce it and everybody would come to consensus on it. So kind of reminded them of Bitcoin. So no, I don't think Satoshi Nakamoto was necessarily inspired by these guys, but I do think it was a fun read. I will drop that below. So without further ado, guys, I am going to get into the interview with as Bitcoin put it, Broccoli Rob. And also be sure to stay tuned in the middle. We do have an exclusive clip. So without further ado, check it out. So I'm sitting here with Robert Allen, the producer of Bitcoin and Friends. How's it going, man?
Good. Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. This is awesome. I'm actually really excited. I had a chance to see the first episode. It was really good. I like the way that you guys were able to combine humor, but also there's actually education like hidden in there, which I thought was really crazy, even down to the fact I saw one of the comments mentioning you had exactly 50 little mini Bitcoin, which is exactly what the, rewards were at the time. So what kind of made you guys want to start this? Where'd you guys get this idea from?
Well, so Chris, the writer-director, is actually my brother. And so we've been chatting. Well, I should back up. We got into crypto pretty much together, same time around 2013. We actually had a mining rig set up in our apartment in New York, in Brooklyn. So that was fun. We actually kind of heated the apartment for that winter. Doing that. Then I ended up moving the gear out to Ohio, trying to save on electricity. And then, I was trying to talk my dad through fixing problems remote, which didn't work well. So long story short, that was an experiment that we didn't make a lot of money with. Actually, we did mine quite a bit of Litecoin. And if we had held it all, I'm sure we probably would have done very well.
Especially now with it just booming.
Yeah, we were selling it, just to cover our mining costs mostly. And anyway, so that was kind of our first intro into crypto, and then we've both been investing and trading and in the space since then. And we actually were banding around the idea of doing an advertisement for a company that would have been basically, it was like an AA meeting with a bunch of different coins. And so the idea originally was we were going to have people in these big coin costumes sitting around talking. And so anyway, that was, I think that
would have been live action if you were to do that.
Yeah, it would have been live action. I think that maybe was the first sort of germ of an idea in this direction. But then, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year later, Chris approached me with some ideas he had about a cartoon. He said, I remember the first part being, of course, Bitcoin is sort of this personification of the network. And then he said, and Bitcoin is going to puke up the block reward every 10 minutes. And so that, as soon as he told me that idea, and I was starting to see it in my mind, I thought, man, this is too fun. Like, we just have to do this show. So that was the beginning of it. And he kept working on script ideas and kind of, back and forth. We did a lot of story development and character development. And he started pulling in other people. And yeah, so one thing led to another, and then I just moved out here to California to be near him and to work, on the show. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey.
So I don't know if anyone out here, has had a chance to see the episode. I did mention it when you guys first came out with it, and I noticed you've been doing a lot of the vlogs, little Bitcoin. He's been doing the vlogs. I saw the one where he picked up the trash. That was pretty cool. So what is your actual, I don't know if you have a goal at all. Maybe you're just doing this for fun, but what is the goal of it? Is it supposed to be educational? Because I do notice you have it in there, but at the same time, it is a little, it's definitely not for kids. It's right. There is some vulgarity in it. So what is the vision for this? Where do you really want to try to take this thing?
Yeah. So, well, I think the number one goal is for us to help spur adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to bring a wider audience to these technologies and to introduce people. We definitely also want to entertain. And, we definitely don't want it to feel like we are pushing an agenda on people or, like a car salesman kind of thing. So we're really focused on making, Bitcoin a lovable character and with an interesting story arc and development. And, Chris has been working, writing scripts and directing independent films now for years. And so he has a lot of experience in really, writing a good story. And I think this show is actually kind of a culmination of a lot of things from his life. He was actually really into cartoons growing up as a kid. So, he was into Calvin and Hobbes, if you've seen those.
Yeah.
So he would write his own long form, literally books full of cartoons that he made up himself when he was in elementary school. And so it's been fun to see all these different things come together kind of perfectly, that aspect, and then his filmmaking. And but yeah, so we want to educate, we want to entertain, and we want to bring more people to Bitcoin, because we strongly believe that that Bitcoin and crypto are the future of money, and are going to lead to greater prosperity for all of humanity, and really I believe this technological revolution is going to be remembered in the same way as fire, or the steam engine, or some of these really seminal moments in history.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I do it, man. I mean, even during the bear market, you saw so many people leave, so many people giving up, projects just, shutting down, closing the doors. And you guys are out here building a cartoon in the bear market, which is amazing. I was out here making videos. So, there definitely are the diehards. My question is, though, you did say Bitcoin, you said, and crypto. So are you guys are you maximalists? Are you just all about Bitcoin, or are you cool with some of the altcoins, or what's your take on it?
Well, I do love Bitcoin, and of course that was my way into all of this. Reading the white paper and seeing that vision. I think there's definitely a benefit to having competition in any market, and having different implementations of this type of technology is a good thing. Even just in terms of censorship resistance and other aspects. If there's only one technology. Say if it was only Bitcoin, for example, could that be co-opted and potentially twisted in a way that could be damaging? I don't know, but I think there's a benefit to having other networks. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm very, very pro Bitcoin, and I have most of my investment in Bitcoin, but I also hold other projects. And yeah, I mean, I think competition is good, bottom line.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hold roughly, I mean, it fluctuates obviously based on how well it's doing. It's a little more than 50% of my portfolio right now, which is a big step for me, because when I first got into it, I was like, screw this Bitcoin, it's too slow. we're trying to get the next altcoin, and well, we know what happened to the prices. And so you kind of, I think after you go through a cycle, you sort of get a little bit wiser, because you realize it's not just about wealth generation, but it's also about wealth preservation too. I want to actually keep some of that value. So yeah, I mean, you do kind of change as you do get into it. And not to say I'm a maximalist either, but I do agree with you on that as well. Now, as far as the actual, but talking about the show, so you guys only have one episode right now. What is the frequency you're trying to go for here? How often can we expect new episodes from you guys?
Well, and actually, sorry, let me one comment on that last point too.
Sure.
I think the other thing we really want to see happen in crypto is for people to be a little bit more gracious and be willing to laugh at themselves, laugh at other people, but ultimately realize that our common goal, I think most people in this space, the common enemy really is fiat central banking. Most people understand that system is essentially legalized wealth confiscation. If you go and print a bunch of $100 bills in your basement and someone finds out, you'll go to prison. If the government does it, and bails out their buddies on Wall Street, it's status quo and everything goes on. So that I think is really important for everyone in this space to remember, what we're striving for, and to try to not get caught up in so much fighting, because I think it's counterproductive. And have your opinions, and if you think project A, B, or C is crap, then don't invest in it. And you can obviously tell people that, and I think it's important that we have a dialogue, but let's not get caught up in just being nasty to each other, because I think that's counterproductive. So that's our hope for the show, is it brings people together. But yeah, in terms of the episode schedule and release and so on, so we finished pretty recently outlining a 3-season story arc, which I'm really excited about, because I think it really wraps up different story arcs for the different characters, and everything just comes together really beautifully. So that's, assuming we can get the funding and everything continues to go, and we grow the show more, it'll be eight episodes per season. So 3 seasons, so 24 episodes total is what we have planned at this point. Of course, it we could go on further beyond that, but that's where we're at. And right now we're looking at one episode every 2 months roughly, but we're really trying to speed that up. We'd love to be at a point where we could do like one a month, but part of that's scaling up the team and making sure we have enough animators and illustrators and everything, and also just learning the processes ourselves and getting more comfortable with everything. So,
and how are you guys actually funded right now? Because if you're just starting up, You know what I mean? Like how are you
Yes.
funded, and then like how do you guys plan on using that if like when you do get the funds? I'm just curious because it's got to
Yeah.
be difficult, you know, starting
Yeah.
something like this just
So
from the ground up.
right. I mean, it definitely was, especially the first episode was a big risk. Obviously, we put so we self funded the first episode, and we put in around I think 45,000 roughly,
Wow.
which was more than we should have. But as you're learning and getting into, because we've never done an animated series before, so we're definitely learning as we go. So we overpaid for some things, and we could have been a little smarter. But second episode, our budget is going to be about 28,000. So quite a bit less, almost half of what we paid for the first episode. So that's very encouraging. And we have quite a few donors. Like basically we just people in the community have donated, and we brought in I think about 12,000 from individual contributions. And then we have two co-sponsors for episode 2. Celsius Network and Reasons to Use Bitcoin. So yeah, they both put in 5,000 each. So that brought us to 22. So we're still out of pocket a little bit on this, about $6,000, I think, total.
Well, that's a smart idea though,
close.
utilizing like projects as sponsors. I mean, that's a win-win. You're not really shilling it. It's just, hey, these guys sponsored the episode, and now watch the episode, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, we're going to do what we can to vet projects to some degree. Like we don't want to, to have something that's really disgusting in front of our episode. But we feel really great about the sponsors we just got, and there's plenty of good companies out there that we'll be happy to partner with. So yeah, so that's the long-term vision is that we can bring on sponsors and hopefully continue to increase our viewership and increase the sponsorship price that we charge, and then eventually we'll get past break even, hopefully, and be able to pay ourselves a little bit someday.
I think it'd be cool to turn on like some Cartoon Network or something like that and see you guys on some late night stuff. That'd be pretty cool one of these days. I mean, if it ever goes mainstream, I mean, like you said, the whole space is so small. So even just like a Bitcoin animated cartoon, like think about the niche within the niche. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like there's but on the bright side, there is so much potential to grow because you're the only guys doing it. I haven't seen it. You're the only people making something like this that I'm aware of. So
yeah, we're really happy that. I mean, it seems like an obvious project, and it's surprising in some ways that there isn't more competition. But at the same time, it's not easy to do this. It's not easy to do it well, especially if you don't have experience in this sort of field. And a lot of people in crypto are not maybe as artistically inclined. I think there's more folks who are programmers and so on. So, but yeah, I mean, we're going to keep grinding on it, and if we could get on Netflix or Adult Swim or something, we'd love that, and we're definitely open to that possibility. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely, man. And also, just for everyone out there, you guys sent me a special clip to play. So I actually thought I'd take an opportunity to really quick play that right now, and everyone can get a little bit of a sort of see what's coming out in episode 2. So let's do that right now.
Please, dude, I can't do this without you.
Harold, I said no 1,000 times.
This whole Bitcoin thing is just a stupid fad, man. It took me all day to find some asshole dumb enough to sell me 2 pizzas for it.
Harold, you know this movement just began, right? You have to give it time.
Dream on, bro. My Bloodcraft gold is worth more than this shit.
If you won't give me a chance, Bitcoin, I'll find another way.
Well, thank you very much for that. That is a exclusive sneak peek. You saw it here first, guys. So now speaking real quick, before we kind of wrap things up, you guys had an opportunity to see some of the characters. I saw it. So you have obviously Bitcoin. You have Metallic, he's a ripoff of Vitalik. I think that's how you say his name, right?
Metallic.
What's his name?
Metallic.
Yeah, Metallic, right? Like metal almost, right? And then you have Harold,
exactly.
And Jones as well. So, like, are we going to be introduced to more characters? Are you going to keep it? Are you going to keep going with the historical? Because I saw you introduce Dorian in the first one. Are we going to have more characters? And also, like, who's going to end up being the villain? Because at some point, you got to have a villain, right?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know how many spoilers I want to give away. So that's the tricky thing. But yeah, we're definitely going to have quite a few more characters. Ethereum is going to be coming into the show here in season 1. And she's basically a love interest for Bitcoin. And and you'll see the kind of beginnings of that actually in episode 2. We're going to have Litecoin, so we'll have other crypto projects, personified in coin, shape similar to Bitcoin. And yeah, we're going to have more sort of icons and historical figures peppered in. We're definitely not. I mean, we obviously have a big orange button thing running around, puking up coins. So this is not historical,
right.
Obviously accurate, but we're definitely going to reference, as we already have done, episode 1. We're going to reference historical things and try to keep it, kind of like if you imagine Bitcoin playing out in an alternate universe. That's kind of the idea. So it'll rhyme with history, but it's not going to be, exactly.
Gotcha. Exactly. So, yeah, I wanted to say, Robert, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I appreciate you guys reaching out. Well, first of all, I wanted to say, as far as funding, like if there's anything, I mean, how could we potentially reach out if we wanted to help out? Is there a way to get a hold of you guys? And then, on top of that, I just wanted to ask you straight up if there was anything else you thought we should know before you go.
Yeah. So if you're interested, if you're watching and would like to help make this show happen, you can go to btcandfriends.com, and there's a donation page on there. We're also kind of like with Kickstarter, there's different tiers, so you can get rewards basically for those donations. We are also, bringing on sponsors. So if you're part of a crypto project and you have some funds, definitely check that out as well. It's an option. Other than that, we're going to be releasing episode 2 here on Saturday, the 15th. So please check that out. And we also release, roughly weekly vlogs, just little update videos and fun things. So definitely subscribe on our YouTube and join us on this journey.
There we go. So I will drop all those links below. Thank you so much, Robert. By the way, the show is very entertaining. Some of it is a little bit shocking, but not shocking for me, but I wasn't expecting that. Some of those things.
Not for kids, no.
No, but it was really funny. There was one, I forget where it was. I actually literally burst out laughing at one point. I don't remember where it was, but man, because I watched it when it first came out. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for what you're doing for the space. I really appreciate it. Obviously anything else we can do to help you. You're like the first legit cartoon startup Bitcoin related cryptocurrency in the space, and I'm definitely behind it. I support it. Anything that helps to bring people in, whether it be like you said, you gotta be able to laugh at yourself. So
right.
I think that's really awesome what you guys are doing, man. So thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So thank you so much if you stuck around to the end, guys. I do appreciate it. That was really fun and insightful. I do support this. I think what they're doing is cool. I do like the fact that it's both educational and it's entertainment. It's infotainment, I guess you could call it, right? So that being said, definitely check it out.